Today we have a Divi theme tutorial. So we're using the Divi theme for WordPress to build this exact website. So even if you've never done web design before, or if you are new to WordPress, Divi theme is a great way of getting started. We've got our blog grid here. We've got a email newsletter sign up form here, and we've got some really cool graphic animation effects happening here as well. You'll learn how to do all of this during our tutorial. Besides the classic blog grid, we've also got a blog carousel, which displays your posts in this cool clickable animated style format. So we'll cover that as well during the tutorial. This is a really nice way of doing blogging using the Divi theme for WordPress. To do this tutorial, we're using a Divi layout pack. This makes things really quick and simple to set up. I'm using an influencer layout pack, but there are over 200 layout packs suitable for pretty much every kind of business or hobby you could think of. So you're sure to find something that suits your project. I'm Alex from IdeaSpot. Let's get started. To start with, I've just got a blank WordPress site. This is running the 2021 theme, which is the default theme at the moment. Now we can go ahead and we can put Divi on here. So to do that, go ahead and log into your Divi account. If you don't have Divi already, check that link in the description. I've got a developer discount that I can share with you. There'll be that link there to look like ideaspot.com/Divi discount, and you can get that developer discount from me in that description. So if you don't have Divi yet, go ahead and get yourself a copy. I'll make sure I keep that link updated with the best possible discount for you guys through that developer discount. But anyway, let's get on with the tutorial. Once you're logged into your account, under the download section of the members area, you can download the Divi theme there. So just click that one, it'll download the Divi zip file onto your hard drive. Now from our WordPress dashboard, we can install Divi. That is under Appearance and Themes. We go to Add New here, and we can upload that Divi zip file. So we click Upload Theme, choose the file, grab that divi.zip from your drive and click Install. Now this install does take a few minutes or a few seconds maybe, but just be patient while this installs. That took me about 5 or 10 seconds, but it'll depend on your connection and your server. And then we click Activate there. Now you'll notice that we have Divi installed and active, and we'll have a Divi option there in our dashboard menu. We go to Theme Options here, and let's start setting this up. The most important first step is under Updates. We want to enter our username and our API key. You can get them from your members area as well. So in your Divi account, under Account, you'll have API key. You can go ahead and copy that API key out there, and your username is the same username that you log into your account with. So just paste those in there. I've already done that, and then go ahead and click Save. One other thing I really recommend doing before we start building pages is under Settings and Permalinks. Just make sure that your permalinks are set to post name. If not, select that one and click Save Changes. That's definitely the most optimal way of displaying your links on the website. So let's get started with Divi and let's start building some pages now. So I'm going to go to Pages and I'm going to Add New. So first thing I'll do is add a title. Let's make the home page first. So I'm going to type home there, and I'm going to click Use the Divi Builder, and Divi will load up. We'll have the option here to build from scratch, use a pre-made layout, or clone an existing page. So by far the easiest one is to use a pre-made layout and then start editing. So I'm going to use this one, click Browse here. This is probably my favorite part of using Divi. There are over 200 layout packs, and each layout has multiple pages. So over 1,600 total layouts. So you can build complete websites using these layout packs. Now for this tutorial, I want to use one called Influencer. So I just searched for it using the word influencer, but you can actually browse through the categories and find something you'd like to use. But I'm going to use this one for this tutorial. So I'm going to go with this influencer homepage for this demonstration. I'm going to click Use this layout. So this can take a few seconds for it to import. So just wait for this to import. So that took about 5 seconds, and it has imported our new layout. So this is what it looks like so far. What I might do right now is publish it so we can have a look at what it looks like live on the website. So I'm going to click Publish there down in the bottom right corner. So this is what we've got so far. We can browse down. We can see we've got a few nice little animation effects on scroll here, and all looks pretty good so far. You'll notice that this page is on ideaspot.site/home because we used the home as the title. I'm going to show you how to set this page as our default page, that when we come to ideaspot.site, it'll come to this home page. So let's go ahead and set that up right now. So back on your dashboard, you want to go to Settings under Reading here, and we want the home page to display a static page. And now that we have a home page built, we can select that page that we just built, the home that we just used. So let's go ahead and press Save there. So now when I head back to our website, ideaspot.site, I've opened that in a new window and we can see that it directs us straight to the home page that we just built. Now, everything here looks pretty good. We're obviously going to need to customize this header and start adding our own content to the actual page. All of this is pretty easy, so let's get started on doing that right now. First thing I might do is the actual logo. So let's do that first. Changing the logo is pretty easy. That is on our dashboard under Divi, theme options, under general tab here. We can go to logo and we can upload a logo from our drive. So we can select something out of our drive. I've actually made a little logo here. I just called it Alice Flowers. Imagine we had an influencer named Alice and that was her logo. We can click set as logo and there we go. And then we'll save those changes. Click save there. It looks all good. And we can actually view that site. I'm going to open that in a new tab here. Now we can see that our new logo is here. So let's just pretend that I am an influencer named Alice and I'm building my little influencer blog here. So we can go ahead and start changing this menu a little bit as well while we're here. So let's go back to our theme options. And we need to look under navigation and pages here. So we can see home and sample page and the home link that corresponds to the home link, the home page, the sample page, and we've got uncategorized blog posts as well. So we can turn some of these off. I might turn off the home page there, the sample page there, and under categories, let's turn off those uncategorized blog posts as well. So we've got that. The only thing we've got is the default home link is enabled. So if I click save here and reload that, we should just have one home link left, which looks pretty good, plus our search tool. So this is pretty clean. I'm going to add a contact page and maybe the blog page as well later in the tutorial. So we'll work on that, but let's leave it pretty tidy for now. And we can go ahead and start working on the actual content on the body of this page. So let's do that. I should also add that if you're interested in making your own logo, I made this one on logomaker.com. That's logomakr.com. But there's lots of logo making websites. Canva.com is another good one, but just have a Google. There's lots of ways of making a logo for free. But let's get back onto this page. So let's go on enable the visual builder here. So if we hover our mouse around our page, we can see that we've got these little toolbars on the top of each section. So we've got the main section here, and then we've got inside the section, we've got a row, and then inside the rows, we've got these gray bars that are modules. So we can edit what is inside the module by clicking that gear icon on the module there. So this is our background photo. So let's go ahead and change this photo. I'm going to click that gear icon there, and this loads up our WordPress media library. So this has the default images in here as well as our logo that we did earlier. I'm going to upload a few more photos that we can add to our website here. So we can just drop photos in. Now I've got some stock photos from pexels.com. I really love Pexels for getting free stock photos. The other one that's really good is unsplash.com. So check these out. You can get some really nice professional free photography to put on your website. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some photos in. So I'll hit select here, and these are a few photos I downloaded earlier. So I'm just going to put all those onto our site. Just wait for those to upload. So now we can choose a portrait photo for that top image. I'm going to go with this girl here as our image. So we should see our new image pop up here. There we go. And we click the tick. The same with this one. I'm going to go ahead and change that. Click the gear. And again, I'm going to click the gear again, and let's go with the one where she's running on the beach there. There we go. So far, so good. One thing worth mentioning is that replacing the images works best if you replace the aspect ratios like for like. So we had portraits, we replaced them with portraits. If you've got landscape photos, replace them with landscape photos. So in this, what I mean is if they're narrow at the bottom, wide along the top, do the same thing, replace it with that. Don't replace a narrow photo with a wide photo because it doesn't always look right when it comes into the template. Next thing I'm going to do is work on these social icons here. So I'm going to hover on those social icons. Let's click that gear there, and we can see we've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So let's imagine Alice doesn't use Twitter. Twitter's a bit too toxic for Alice, so she's going to delete that one. She just uses Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then we can go ahead and click Facebook, and we can put our Facebook link in here. So I might just paste my own IdeaSpot Facebook page in there for this demo. So just go ahead and pop that in and click the tick. And click that again, and then we can go ahead and we can actually save the changes that we've made so far. So I'm going to click there, and this opens up our extra options. We can click save and wait for that to save. So that's all good. I like to go over to my other tab and have a reload and just check everything's working correctly. So here we can see that the Facebook icon there is going to link to my IdeaSpot Facebook page like it does here. So that's working just fine. It opens it in a new tab actually. So that's a pretty good little feature. We can go ahead and repeat that process, link to our Instagram, link to our YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube actually and hit like on this video if you haven't already. That's probably my favorite social media out of these three, but I'm a little biased obviously because I'm a YouTuber. The other thing you may like to do is just make these a fraction bigger. I feel like those are a little bit too small. So we go to design and we can change the icon. We can use a custom size here. And so it's on 16 pixels. We can make them maybe 18. So it's a little bit bigger. Go ahead and click the tick there. This is on the desktop view. Whenever you change the size of something, it's always best to have a look. So if we go down the bottom left here, we can see tablet view. There we go. And we've got the icons there and mobile view. All looks pretty good still. So always, as you replace content and change things around, just go ahead and double check on the different devices and make sure that your page is acting in a correct manner when you change the screen size. So this all looks pretty good. So let's keep working. The other thing we could do is change the color of these icons too. So we could click that gear and we go back to the Facebook icon, for example, click that gear there and we can go to the design and we can go icon and we've got the color there. So I could change it to red. Facebook's traditionally a blue icon, but you can change it to anything you like here. You could click the eyedropper here and choose anything or enter an HTML code for the exact color that you're looking for. So I think while we're on this, let's go back there again. It's probably worth talking about the actual palette that we've got here. So this palette is actually derived from our theme options. So if we go back to our general, we've got our palette here. So this palette is the default palette. It doesn't really correspond to the nice autumn oranges and browns and the earthy tones that we've got here. We've got some soft pinks. So what I might actually do is replace this palette with something a little bit more suitable based on our actual template that we're using here. So I'm going to go to that theme options. I'm going to replace all this with our actual colors that our website actually uses. So given that we've already set up one page, I'm going to show you a little trick to grab the palette from this page. All you need to do is take that URL. So I'm going to copy that URL out. And let's go over to a page called colorcombos.com. I'll link that in the description as well. But if we go to tools, we can go to grab colors. And this just lets you put in the URL of the page you want to grab the actual palette from. So if we click get and wait a second here, so that will actually load up the primary colors from our actual site there. So we can see we've got those nice earthy tones and those soft pink backgrounds as well. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those hex codes here with our Divi default color palette. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got black and white. We'll probably keep that, but that red, that can actually change. So instead of that red, let's go with that orange. So let's grab that code and go back to our theme options. I might move that tab over here and let's paste that in there. So there we go. We've got the orange there, and let's move. So maybe this pink here can be this orange. We can replace that. And what else can we do? We've got this more of a gold color. We can replace the yellow. And so on and so forth. Basically, we just go through and replace the colors with our actual useful colors from our page. There we go. So I've just skipped ahead and replaced these colors with the colors that we grabbed from our Color Combos color grabber. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to click save here. And now back in Divi, I might close out of this and then just save it and reload. And we should get our new palette. So I'll just go ahead and reload this page. And now we can go back. If we look at the icon, for example, as we were working on before here, so Facebook, the gear, and we've got the design icon. We've got our new palette here. So we can reuse the exact colors that we've used on our template and repeat that process whenever we want to copy that same color. So we want to keep our colors uniform throughout the website. As we add content, text, we can choose backgrounds and things that match what we've already done. So definitely do that step as well. Next thing we can do is change any text we see on our page. So we just click it and we can change it. That's very simple. In this case, it's a little bit interesting because it's stuck on that bottom right corner and it's got some padding on the bottom and the top to get it in that spot. So I'll show you how you can work with that. So let's say we change it to fashion and food. we can see that the N didn't fit on the line. So what we can do is actually, if we click, we can actually find this padding here. So if we hover on the left side there, we've got 120 pixels of our padding there. We can actually adjust that by dragging it. So if I drag it down to 88 pixels, that looks okay now, and they're both fitting just fine. And then we can keep continuing this process throughout the page. So rather than being Jane Walters, I think in this case, my influencer name is Alice Flowers. Alice Flowers. And she is a lifestyle blogger. So I can delete that subtitle and put lifestyle blogger. There we go. What else have we got here? So we can see they've written subscribe here on 3 lines. I think they've done that as a design choice. Let's say that's a little bit too hipster for our taste. We could change that. Again, just drag that padding. I could make that, say, 42 pixels on the left and another 42 pixels on the right. Let's say we wanted a little bit further down the circle as well. We could, again, you've got padding on the top there. We can just drag that down and make it a little bit more further towards the middle. So I think that looks pretty cool. Let's save that again. Now this next section is a little bit interesting because we have these images here, plus we have a background image behind it. So we've got a orange line through this pink blob and pastel pink. So to get to that, we can go to our image under the background section here. So we collect section and we've got background. So that is where we've got this pastel pink background. We've also got an image there. So that is that image that we are looking at behind there. And if we click the gear, we can just change that to another image if we wanted to. So we could put maybe the bags. I don't think that'll look good, but you get the idea. You can change that to whatever you like. If you wanted some backgrounds, you could go to Unsplash and just type background. You can search for some cool backgrounds. You could search for landscape orientated ones and look for something suitable. Or we could just use some just plain color. Either way, I'm just going to go with, let's close out of that. What I might just do is hit the trash can and just delete that and just have that nice plain pastel light pink background. I think that looks just fine rather than having that orange line through it. I think this is a little bit nicer. Another interesting little design choice they made was to actually slide these texts slightly off the image. So home, food, and fashion. You can see it slightly clips off the corner. I think that's a design option that the designer liked. I don't particularly like it myself, but we can see there's a little anchor thing there, that little arrow. We can actually drag this around. So if we wanted to get that more on top of the image, same again here, but it can be a little bit fiddly to get exactly onto that icon. But when you can see it says bottom, you can see the actual numbers. That's when it's on the, that's where you need to be. So we can just drag that up and down. Same here for fashion. Just hover and make sure you can see those numbers. That'll allow us to drag it around and get it into a better position. So that looks pretty cool. Again, we can go ahead and replace these images with our own images. So same thing, we click on the module, click the gear, and then click the gear inside there, and we can choose an item to go there. So I'm going to go with maybe that one there instead. So we can pop that in there and wait for that to load, and there we go. Now in this case, we've got white text on a white background. You might like that subtle text effect. If you wanted to make it more legible, it's always good. We could change we could actually change that to black text. If we click there and we went to the design, we could change the actual text to black. And that is much more legible. The other thing we could do, if I hit undo there, is make the actual picture darker. So if we hit the gear on there, then we just need to go to design and we can put filters on that image. So we can click filters there and we can just drop the brightness down a bit. If I just drag that down, we can see that makes the home text a little bit more legible. So again, we could just drop that down a little bit, make it a little bit more easy to read if that's what we want. Totally up to you. So this design has actually chosen to use 3 different fonts. Let's say we wanted to keep things a little bit more uniform across this section and just use this the font that they've used for home. So we could go and change that, say that food font. Let's see what this actually is first. Click on that gear. Text, we can see design. The text is called caveat. So let's go back to that again. Gear and the design of the text. That's Belfair. And we're going to change that to caveat. So C-A-V, there we go, caveat. Click the tick. That one there says fashion. Let's do the same thing there. Design, text, and change that from Bellifair to caveat. There we go. That's all caps. Those are title case. So if I want to change that double O-D in food to lowercase, let's go ahead and click that and see how that's happened. So they've actually written in F-O-O-D with lowercase there. So they might have actually changed it to all caps in the text options. So we can see there, text font style, they've selected all caps. If we just unselect that, it'll make it back to normal capitalization. So click that one. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to click save. I might change these images to my own images. I might just going to skip ahead and do that because we've done that before. So I've just skipped ahead. I've changed that to that nice knit sweater and changed that to a salad. I've just added a bit of a filter with reduced brightness so the white text is more readable, but I think we're making pretty good progress. The other skill we didn't quite touch on was this button here. So that button is going to link to the blog. If we click the gear on that, we've got a link there. We can paste a link in there. I'm going to actually link this to the blog page. We haven't built the blog page yet, but in the future, it's going to be /blog. So I might just type that in now just to show you how it's done and click the tick there. So that will link to /blog after we've built the blog page, but we'll do that in later in the tutorial. I'll click save now. The other thing worth mentioning is that with links on Divi or any page builder really, you can link to within your own site, just going / and then the page name, or you can link externally, just putting a whole URL such as google.com, just put the whole HTTPS and stuff in there if you want to do it like that. But either way will work fine for buttons or links within Divi. Now there's one other interesting feature on this page, and that is further down we've got the newsletter. So this newsletter is, you can link that to any sort of email newsletter service. So if we click the gear there, we've got join my newsletter, and if we scroll down, we've got email account. And so there's lots of different email newsletter services you can connect this to. MailChimp is the default one, and that's the one I actually use. So all you have to do is click add here and put in your account name and your API key. I'll use MailChimp as an example, but all of these are pretty similar. So in the case of MailChimp, I quite like MailChimp because it's free and it's been quite good. I've been using it for a while. So all you do is log into your MailChimp account, go to your account here, and then under extras, you've got your API keys. So if you haven't created a key already, just create one, and then you get one there and just copy and paste that into our Divi. So back in Divi, you can type your account name in there, paste the key in there, and then click submit. And after you've submitted your API key, you'll get your list appear on the MailChimp list, and then you can go ahead and click tick, and we're all good. Whenever someone enters their email address there, that will sign them up to your newsletter. If you don't use newsletters, or you just rather have just the social icons, for example, maybe we could just delete the whole section and just not even have it. The other option we could do is we could just redesign this altogether. So for example, I could just remove that email box thing, and maybe just put the social icons over here. We could just drag and drop, pop those in here. And this is on the right side. So I'll just click the gear there, and we just go to our design and alignment. See, we're on the right there. We could pop that in the middle. That looks pretty cool. And instead of saying join, just say follow. And again, this is a little bit off of our background, that pink background there. I'd like to have it a little bit closer into the middle, and then maybe even make it a little bit smaller. So first thing I'll do is just highlight that, and we'll see what it is. That's a heading 3. So we'll go to design, and it's a heading, so heading text, and click on heading 3 there. We've got caveat regular style, and if we scroll down, we've got the size. The size of the heading 3 is set to 200 here, so we can make that smaller as we like. I think that looks fine. There we go. So then we've got our social icons. We could go ahead and edit these icons and go ahead and link them. I'll just post the link to my Facebook page in there, for example, and just save that in. There we go. So that's another option. If you don't want to deal with having a newsletter on your blog, we could just change it to follow links. But I kind of like the newsletter, so I might put it back to that. So I've just gone and restored the newsletter opt-in form here. Now you can actually go back in time quite easily in Divi, just going to your options here, and they've got this little clock icon. You can go to any history point. You've got the timer there. You can go to any point in history where you edited your page. So very easy to go back and forward between your edits and look at your history. So I'm back to my newsletter setting. I'm going to leave it on this one. What I might just do is just move that joint there a little bit more, and this background stroke thing, I don't quite like that. I might remove that. So sometimes with these templates, when they've got lots of features stacked on top of each other, it can be hard to figure out exactly where the settings are for a certain function. So you can actually display the whole list by clicking that layers option here. And if we go down, this is the bottom section. So that's the footer section. We've got a row there, and let's look at the first column there. So we've got a divider there. That's probably it. You've got text and email opt-in. So I think that divider at the top is the one we're thinking about here. So I might trash that, and that looks good now. So let's remove that orange bar. So I might save this all in. But that's just a little tip. If you're having trouble finding the settings for the thing you're trying to change, you can just go there and list all the modules on the page with that layer icon down there. Now, while we're down here, we've got this default footer down here designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress, social icons. I might actually just remove that whole footer down there. I'll show you where this is done. So this is back in our dashboard. We're under Divi and we're under the theme builder here. So when we load up the theme builder, we've got header, body, and footer. We can actually turn the footer off, turn the header off, and we can actually click on them and we can build our own custom footers or just add a template from the library. In this case, it's exactly the same as building a page, building a footer or a header. It uses the Divi builder the same as what we've been doing. So I don't need to show you that, but I can just turn them off. And then if I click save here, that's just going to actually just take that footer off of our page. So if I scroll down, it's nice and clean now. So I quite prefer that. So back in the Divi builder, I've just reloaded the builder and there our footer is gone. So I think we're pretty much done with this page. The only thing we have to add is no results found for our blog post, because we don't have any blog posts yet. I'm going to go ahead and start adding some blog posts to this page. So again, back in our dashboard, I'm under posts and all posts here. I'm going to trash this hello world post. You usually get a hello world when you first install WordPress just to see that the posts are working. So I'll click trash there, and then we're going to add a new post. So first thing I'll do is add a title in here, so you can just start typing in. So I've just called this one Summer Sunglasses. Now, before we start editing the post in Divi, I want to set a featured image, and let's choose that sunglasses image that we got earlier. That is a nice featured image. Make sure you have featured images for all your posts, because that is going to be the thumbnail for your blog on your blog page. So make sure that's set up. I'm also going to set the discussion. I'm going to turn comments off, and Divi page settings down here. What I'm going to do is turn the sidebar off and hide the title by default on our blog templates. I'm going to show you how to do that just by default, so we don't have to mess with this every time we make a post. So let's head over to our theme options here. And we're under general here, under Divi theme options. I'm going to scroll down the bottom. I'm just going to paste in some CSS that I've made. I'm going to share this on my blog. So you can just go over to my blog. The link is in the description. Just copy and paste that in there and just save that in. Also, we want to go to the layout and single post layout. I want to turn the comments off on there and save that on. Also, I want to go to settings and under discussion. Here, I also want to untick the allow people to submit comments. So that looks all good. I can go ahead and save that in. And now back on our post page, I don't have to worry about this stuff ever again. I'll have the correct layout when I use my Divi builder. So let's go ahead and use the Divi builder. And again, we choose a pre-made layout. Let's browse our layouts, because we've got some nice actual pre-made layouts for this influencer template pack. So back to our template pack here, we have actually got 4 different post styles that we can use here. So I might use the 4th one for this example. You can actually view the live demo here and have a look at what it looks like if you would like. So you can check those out. When you're ready, use this layout. Wait for that to load up. It takes a few seconds to load up and we'll be back in our Divi editor. So again, this is just the same as building a page in Divi, as we've already covered before, changing our text and images, moving things around. When you're all done, just go ahead and click publish. The only thing to watch out for on this particular one that I imported is it has a comment section on here. So if you didn't want that comment section, you could just go ahead and just delete that whole section. So that was on the template itself. So if you wanted to remove that, same with this newsletter, you can set up a newsletter as we did before on our homepage, or if not, just go ahead and delete that one as well. So I'm going to save that in. So that's basically how we make a post. We can repeat that process and just make a few more posts so we can see what this page will look like, what our blog will actually look like once we've got a few posts. So I might just go and skip ahead and add a few more posts in. So there we go. We've got our 4 posts for this demonstration here, just following that process again and repeating it 4 times. Let's go to pages. Let's make it an actual blog page. So let's go to add new here, and we're going to make a blog page. So I'm going to call that blog, and we're going to use that Divi builder again, and a pre-made layout. I'm going to browse, and we should have a nice actual blog layout for this influencer layout pack as well. So influencer blog page, we're going to pop that on here as well. Use this layout and let that import. So again, we've got our Divi page imported. Now this can be edited, the same as we edit any other Divi page. So instead of journal, I could call it blog. You could call it news or diary or whatever you like. Again, we've got this little setup here. I might actually remove that. Given that I'm displaying this stuff on my home page, I might go ahead and just delete this row out from here. So I could just delete that row, for example, just keep it fairly simple. We've got the most recent post that we made, the nice knitwear that's displayed here. So you can go ahead and click that. That'll take you to the blog post. And then it's displaying the summer sunglasses one here. And if we could click that gear, let's see how this works. So this is a blog setting. So it can display up to 6 posts. It'll display all the categories and it displays excerpts, and offset number is 3. So it'll display the 3rd most recent post. So if we could actually change that and make it maybe make it 1. So here it displays our pastel bags, perfumes, and the sunglasses. If we change it to 0, that'll display all the posts. So we've got knitwear there, and we've also got knitwear there. So we might want to offset it just by 1. So it doesn't have the most recent post. The most recent post can be there, and then the other later posts can be down there. So I'd recommend setting that to 1 if you've already got the most recent one there. So have a play around with that and get that set how you like. So I've actually got this one here is actually, if we go down there, offset is 0 on that one. Sorry, their offset is set to 0. So I think this looks pretty good for our blog page. One thing you might notice is the default category is called uncategorized. We can actually rename that default category to something a little bit more appropriate for our blog. The other thing we can do while we're here is just hide the category if we'd like to hide the category. So you could go into the module settings, and we are looking at the content here. And if we scroll down, we've got the actual elements. So you can turn things on and off. You could turn the feature to image off. We could turn that read more button on or off. So the read more button's off at the moment. We could put the read more button on. So we've got a little read more link there. We can show the author, show the date, show the categories is what is showing here. So we could just turn that off, and that cleans it up, takes that category off there. If you're happy with that, click there. The other thing we could do, same thing there. We scroll down and elements, it's showing all that meta. So it's got the date, the title, the author. We could turn those things off. So we could turn the arrows. It's got arrows there. We can scroll through posts. So anyway, read more button, leave that on. Post meta, we'll turn that off. So that cleans that up a bit there. So that looks pretty cool. So we can flip through there. That's pretty nice as well. So let's go ahead and publish this when we're happy with it. Set up the blog categories. That's back in our dashboard here. So we go to post and we've got categories here. So we've got an uncategorized category here, obviously. All we'd have to do for that is just go to edit, and we can just edit that name. So I'm just going to something general for our default category, maybe lifestyle. And again, the slug can be lifestyle. Go ahead and just update that. But you can go ahead and set up multiple categories. So if you're blogging about food and travel, etc., you could have different categories and have different post grids showing up and just filter that category. So now back on our blog, if we go down to our blog grid that we have on our blog page, now we can actually see we've got lifestyle as a category. So if we only wanted to show lifestyle posts, we could just highlight that one, and it'll only show the lifestyle grid. So if we had multiple categories, we could have different grids. Like you have a grid just about shoes, for example, if you had a shoe category. So you can really get a little bit fancy with how you lay out your actual blog post. So I'm just going to put all categories here and just go ahead and save that on. And for our blog grid, we can actually add this and set this up on our home page as well. So back on our pages on our dashboard, we've got our home page there. Let's edit that with Divi again. And let's add that blog grid properly on the home page. So if we scroll down, I think they've actually set up a blog grid down here. So it hasn't been set up completely. So let's click on that gear icon there. You can display up to 6 posts, but the post offset there is set to 3. So let's just bump that back to 0. All the most recent posts will be there. So it's got a grid of 3 there. So what I might actually do is just drop that back to, let's just drop that back to 3. Just because we've only got 4 posts, it doesn't look very good when it was 4 displaying in that 3-column view. So I'm going to just change that to 3 posts there. Again, we've got like a read more down there. I might just delete that button there. And I think this looks pretty cool. We've got the categories there. We've only got 1 category. So if I was only blogging under 1 category, I probably wouldn't display the categories. So I might just, let's remove the category from that. There we go. The other thing that's nice to do is sometimes add an excerpt so they can read a little bit of the text and just get people interested. And they might actually click the post. They can get more page views using that sort of design. And a read more button is always good as well. So we've got like a read more link down there. So I like that. I think this is looking pretty close to where we want to be. So let's just save that on. You will notice that since we added the blog page, that's also automatically added it to the header as well. So if we go back to our dash, we can actually see that in our Divi theme options here, we've got our layout and the navigation. Under the navigation, we've got our blog is displayed in the header. So if we didn't want to display the blog in the header, we could turn it off, but I quite like having it in the header. And then it's basically just a matter of repeating this process, adding new pages as we want. So we could go ahead. I'd recommend adding, say, an about page and a contact page using that default Divi builder, and you've got the templates for those as well. So just go ahead, repeat that process, build out your website with the pages and posts that you want, but you've got all the skills that you need to continue this process. But I quite like what we've done so far. We've got our basic header set up with a link to our blog there. We've also got this button that links to our blog as well. So either of those will take us through to our blog page, and it displays our blog here. We've got the latest post here, and we've got that post grid with more recent posts as well. So looking pretty cool. We can link back to our home page, and we can just continue this process, add maybe an about page and a contact page, and we've got a pretty nice sort of influencer style website without really doing a lot of work. So this was quite fun, I think. But that pretty much wraps it up. We've got all the skills that we need to build a basic website. We can build buttons and change images, change text, add blog posts, add blog grids and things. So that's really all you need if you just want a basic, simple website, if you're an influencer like this example. So hopefully that was useful. Click like if it was useful. The other themes that I really like are probably Cadence at the moment. I quite like Cadence, a little bit more technical than Divi, but I'll put the link to that video up here. The other thing you really need for WordPress is good WordPress hosting. So I'll put a link to my favorite Cloudways setup tutorial. You can get 3 days free trial through that video there if you check that out as well. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.